Hi everyone, it is your Thursday night update. The Rams just beat the Vikings. I actually thought the Vikings were going to win after watching the first half. And then, of course, it wasn't on during my flight on the way back home because it's on Amazon Prime. Anyways, first world problems. But the Rams pulled out the victory, so they are now 3-4, similar to the 49ers 3-4 record, which means the 49ers just really need to win this game on a Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys, propel them to 4-4. And like I said on 49ers Now, this is a launch point for the rest of the season. It will get them with momentum in the middle part of this bulky, meaty part of the season after the bye, where it is, you know, four road trips. They've got Tampa. They've got a lot of different games going on. They've got Green Bay. They've got Buffalo. Miami. I know Miami hasn't been great, but it's Mike McDaniel. So I mean, this really could propel the team to a better second half of the season. So, practice report for today. This is Thursday. George Kittle did practice. I saw him running across the field, almost sprinting, not completely, but he looked good. Didn't look like the foot was affecting him, was not limping or, you know, are off balance at all. He looked like he was putting even pressure on each foot. Deebo Samuel was also back on the field. Deebo Samuel, I believe, will play on Sunday, but after, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 reps of him running routes, catching passes from Brock Purdy, he did look like he was having trouble breathing. I've had pneumonia before, and it is hard to breathe when you don't have your full lung capacity. And I wasn't even an athlete at the time. I mean, I was doing, kid stuff. It was like when I was 12 or 13. As a full blown athlete with walking pneumonia, having to come back from that, it takes a while to get your lung capacity back. So while I do think Deebo Samuel plays, I don't think they can rely on him the way they have in the past to play 90% of the snaps. I just think that he's going to be out there on a pitch count depending on how he feels. I do think he'll play. And I do think he'll play because Jauan Jennings did not practice on Thursday. So no practice for Jauan Jennings with the hip injury. I do think that that means we won't see Jauan Jennings till after the bye. The good thing is that after the bye, the 49ers could get back Christian McCaffrey. They could get back Dre Greenlaw a couple weeks after that. There was a little kind of kerfuffle online. Mike Silver, one of my colleagues from San Francisco Chronicle, no, he's with the Athletic now, said that Talanoa Hufanga was going to miss the rest of the season. Well, his agent got on the horn to him and said, "Hey, no, the plan is to have Talanoa Hufanga play with a cast on," which I have seen him with a cast on pregame. If you're at the game, I'll post some video of him with a cast on. He's been out there, with his teammates, kind of coaching them up, rallying them up. So Talanoa Hufanga has been wearing a cast, but George Kittle was the one who said when he was in his scrum. So his locker is right next to Christian McCaffrey's locker. So when we were talking to George, he was saying, we just got to get this win because after the bye, this guy's going to come back. And he kind of nodded his head towards Christian McCaffrey's locker. And everybody kind of was like, oh, he's like, I don't know anything official, but sooner than later. So I do believe Christian McCaffrey is making his way back. We've seen him in the locker room, like I gave in yesterday's update. I saw him in the locker room shooting jumpers. So he's jumping, he's doing movement things, moving things where he's moving and jumping. So I do think he's feeling better. Also, Ricky Pearsall jumpers, Deebo Samuel jumpers in the locker room. It's funny because we can't video these things for you, but Trent Williams' locker is really close to that. So we did speak to Trent Williams today, and just kind of when we're in the scrum around him, that he has a plastic wall that's set up against the edge of he's in one of the center islands of lockers. So the lockers go all around this big room. And then there's two kind of locker islands, and he's on one of them. And on the side, that's the one that has the basketball hoop. He's got a plexiglass wall so that the stray basketballs, because they're football players, not basketball players. There's some guys that are decent, but the stray basketballs hit the wall instead of going into Trent Williams' locker space area. Trillium spoke and he said, it's like every other season. This is football. There is just this quiet calm about this locker room. Now, Matt Mayoko, my colleague that I work with, says that it's, lackluster, that they're feel like they're asleep. I do think guys like Malik Mustapha, getting guys like Dre Greenlaw back to be the enforcer, like Kyle Shanahan said, like Nick Sorensen has said, like, Everybody has talked about how Malik Mustapha just comes in like a missile and delivers those hits. Dre Greenlaw is very much the same way. Fred Warner is very much the same way. And to have guys like that, more of them on the defense is only going to make the defense better. It's going to kind of lift the spirits, lift the energy level. And I think that's what Malik Mustapha did in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Is just, they had too many mistakes outside of that. So now, with all that being said, if the defense and the offense plays well, still special teams is an issue. So all the missed tackles, they have to address that. And I've said this repeatedly again, 14 missed tackles on special teams. It's 14 different players. There's not a repeat offender. It is so weird. So they've kind of tried different players, different schemes, and it's not been the same mistake every single time. It'll be a blocked punt, a fake, punt. They caught it this last time versus the Chiefs. It'll be a bad coverage, a huge return, a 97-yard return for a touchdown. It's so many different things. So it's not like there's, as Kyle Shanahan said, not a blanket narrative for special teams. They just haven't been playing well. And part of it is the fact that Jake Moody is out. He's got the strong leg that can kick the kickoffs all the way to the back of the end zone, so they aren't returned. So Jake Moody also potentially coming back after the bye. He is not going to be kicking at all on Sunday, potentially after the bye when the team travels to Tampa Bay. So all these different factors playing into why the 49ers have a 3-4 record. I did ask George Kittle about, they've been at 3-4 before. Do they draw from those experiences in the past? And he said, not necessarily, because each team every year is so different. It's different reasons that they're 3-4. It's different players on the roster. Even though the core group is the same, it's a lot of different peripheral players, a lot of different pieces that came in. I mean, going from Eric Armstead to Javon Hargrave, who is now out, to Jordan Elliott and Malik Collins in the middle of the defensive line. I don't know that if Javon Hargrave's in there, the parting of the Red Seas happen and Patrick Mahomes runs right down the middle, right into Malik Mustapha into the end zone for a touchdown. So, Friday, I am not going to be at practice, but I am going to do an interview with Jason Garrett about the game. So that'll be on NBC Sports Bay Area. Yeah, just it's a big game. You can feel the energy and excitement. And I think that they know that this is a game that they need to win. And it's prime time. The 49ers, this iteration of the 49ers has been really good on primetime games. So I expect them to play to the level that they can. And that's how they will get a win against a Dallas Cowboys team that has had some struggles. So I'll give you guys another update tomorrow, which is Friday. But for now, 49ers, Deebo Samuel back, George Kittle back. That bodes well for the 49ers offense on Sunday. All right. Talk to you guys soon. I'll try to keep doing the daily updates.